State lawmakers consider changes to programs for the elderly and the disabled as part of a frenzy of work this week on the state budget. Political reporter Jessica Arp joins us live from the state capitol with details. Jess.
Well, Michelle, these issues are incredibly important to those in the disability rights community, their friends and their families, who still have concerns after planned changes to the governor's budget plan on long-term care.
Why would you make any changes to those at all? And that's a fair question.
Groups at the state capitol were continuing to ask why changes were proposed to the state's family care and IRIS programs for the elderly and people with disabilities to keep them living independently and out of nursing homes. The governor's plan had eliminated IRIS and changed how family care would run statewide.
Thousands of people with disabilities, family members, caretakers, older adults came out and talked about how much they wanted the current system to be preserved.
But Republicans on the Finance Committee offered an alternative plan expanding family care across the state, but still planning changes that would likely change self-directed programs used by people with disabilities.
We think that we're going to have better quality of care, that integration is the future, and that we're going to make these programs better than they've been and more sustainable.
But disability groups and Democrats disagreed, saying the changes create uncertainty.
I think that what the budget motion says today is that part of the plan, a pretty significant plan about how we're going to move forward, has already been developed without stakeholders at the table.
Our job is not to create uncertainty. Our job is not to create turmoil. Our job is not to disrupt. Our job is to take what works in Wisconsin and try and make it better by listening to the advocates.
Now, the state would have to apply for a waiver from the federal government to make these changes, and if it was approved, the changes would go into effect in January of 2017. Now, once lawmakers get past this issue in the Joint Finance Committee today, up later this week will be UW and money for road building in the state, as well as a Buck Stadium deal, which we were told as of today had still not been reached but was very close. There are a number of moving parts at this point where the lawmakers still do not have full agreement.
Lots of stuff happening today, Jess. We understand there was also news when it comes to wages for the construction industry. Is that right?
Well, yeah, that's right. The governor announced today through a spokeswoman that he would support a full repeal of the state's prevailing wage law. That repeal would affect wages paid that construction workers when they work on some government jobs. The Assembly Labor Committee heard both sides of that issue in a hearing earlier today.
Prevailing wage laws ensures that the competitive bidding process is not used to undermine community wage levels and living standards. By setting wage rates, contractors compete fairly and win bids based on merit.
But we think it's complicated. We think it increased costs. We also don't think it does what it says it does, which is set wages that reflect market rates.
Now, Republican leadership in both houses have said there are not enough votes to repeal it, but say they are working on making changes to that law, which was originally passed in 1933. Now, that Assembly committee did pass on a 5-4 vote a repeal of the prevailing wage law, but Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, who we spoke to within the last half hour, says he will not schedule that wage repeal vote for a vote in the full assembly, and also says he does not believe it will be included in the final version of the state budget. But he says lawmakers are still considering a reform package on this issue, so we have not heard the last about this.
All right, another very busy day at the Capitol. Jessica Arp reporting live for us tonight. Jessica, thank you.